My question is for panellist Stuart Robert. Were you paid directly or indirectly for your assistance to lobbying firm Synergy 360? If not, why did you do it?
Well, surprise, surprise, Stan. Every time I turn up, there's always a gotcha moment. Let's start with the facts, because we had a good outing on this in question time today. So the papers reported that 6 years ago, while I was on the backbench, that I, as I do normally and all politicians do, engage with meeting with stakeholders. I'm not paid for it. I don't get anything for it. I assist people. I wasn't responsible for anything. And I continue to meet with stakeholders as all MPs do. Now, newspapers have got emails that showed that I provided advice and guidance, as I do all the time for stakeholders and constituents alike.
You're being a bit disingenuous, aren't you?
I don't think so, Stan.
They're not stakeholders. They are personal friends, people you'd have business association with, and the emails reveal that you had not just had connection with them, association with them, but you'd also recommended them to clients and given references for them. That's more than what you just said then.
Oh, if people ask for advice as who's good or bad or otherwise, I'll absolutely give an opinion. The emails also show when they asked should they donate to the Liberal Party, I said no. So it's very clear what the boundaries are, very clear what the lines are. I'll continue to engage with stakeholders as Bill does.
But let's be clear, you are talking about people who were friends of yours, not just constituents and stakeholders.
I'll continue to engage with everyone, whether they're friends of mine or otherwise, Stan.
And to go to the question as well, did you receive any financial gain, either directly or indirectly?
No, not at all. And I made that very clear.
Directly or indirectly?
Directly or indirectly, none. None at all. Remember, I was a backbencher. Wasn't a minister, had no responsibility, no authorities, no procurement, nothing at all, simply a backbencher.
Bill Shorten.
Well, I know we're mainly here to talk about the NDIS, but I think that in the light of the member for Fadden's answer, I have with me some emails, and he's saying that this is just standard practice. But he writes to his friend, who's Mr. David Milo, who's the CEO of Synergy 360 Consulting. David writes to him first on this email and says, should I consider joining the Hume Forum? That's a fundraising vehicle for the Liberal parties. And Stuart says, nope, it'll be declared and it'll hurt you. So he's giving him advice, but he's saying it'll be declared, which is, why would, if it's straight up and above, why not just donate and declare? Why tell him not to declare? There's another message here he writes to his friend from the consulting company in question. David, I was chatting to the Singaporean High Commissioner. They have a $2 billion investment in Shoalwater Bay and Townsville Defence Area. Says at present they rely on local emergency services. My friend, the member for Fadden, says this puts them at the mercy of state health services. There's an opportunity for an Australian firm like Aspen Medical to help them. I guess the point about that is Aspen Medical a client of 360 Synergy? I don't know, but maybe our friend here can answer that.
Nor do I, but I'm all for Australian firms.
Yeah, what about Australian health services? Anyway, you're obviously a full-service shop for this consultancy firm.
Not at all. No, that's pejorative, Bill, and you know it.
Well, let's go to this one then. There's a big private Taiwanese company, Formosa, and you write to Formosa and you say, there's a great set of work coming up at the Gold Coast City Council with a citywide lighting replacement. Perhaps, and you write to the consulting company, hey, perhaps you could, he writes to the Formosa and the Taiwanese company, I know a very good consulting company who could help you win some of that work. 360 Synergy.
Today,
you're doing great service for Synergy 360. I just wondered, does everyone else get that same level of service and business spotting?
Except there wasn't a lighting replacement project on the Gold Coast at all.
Well, your emails, I'll put them up online and people can be the judge of that.
Today in Parliament, you used the word corruption. Is that what you believe you were talking about here?
I don't have all the evidence.
You did use that word today in Parliament.
As a general principle...
It's covered by privilege, remember, Stan.
No, well, as a general principle, Australians expect MPs to represent their constituencies, not former private business contacts. And the Fairfax papers, I know it's another media outlet, have raised issues, and what I'm going to do is go to my departments, which were formerly run by the Coalition, and make sure that the contracts allocated to clients of this consulting firm who Mr Robert certainly spots opportunities for, to make sure it's above board. So I don't know if there's corruption, but I tell you what, we're just going to find out.
Remember, I was on the backbench. I wasn't a minister in Service Australia for years and years later. I categorically deny anything when it comes to procurement, because you know how procurement works, Bill, and ministers have absolutely and utterly no responsibility for it.
Whether you're a minister or a backbencher, shouldn't the same principle apply, that you should not be giving advice necessarily to lobbyist companies that are then profiting, or clients that are profiting from that association?
When people come and seek advice from MPs, which they do all the time, we'll provide it to them. Right, we'll give it to them. We'll provide representation, we'll provide stakeholder management for them, and we'll assist them and provide advice as required.
I don't want to prolong the debate, but all I would ask Mr Robert is, did you advise all consulting companies about the opportunities in Townsville, or the opportunities potentially in Gold Coast lighting, or that you shouldn't donate to a particular Liberal fund because it'll be declared? Or was it just this company who received the benefit of your advice? And if it was just this company, what made this company so special to any other consulting company?
I'm trying to work out what you're alleging, Bill, in that respect, because I'm on the backbench. It's 6 years ago. I'll provide advice to anyone, and saying to people, hey, don't donate to the Liberal Party, how is that a bad thing?
Jordon, you're in the Parliament. What do you make of all this today?
Well, I'm sitting here, to be honest with you, Stan, as one of the two disabled people on the panel, and hoping we can get to the NDIS
we certainly
soon.
will.
You know, if we wanted to listen to this kind of thing, we'd turn on question time. And I would say that exactly this type of situation is exactly why the Greens have spent 12 years campaigning for a national anti-corruption commission, and why it is so important that anti-corruption commission have public hearings. And I am really disappointed that the bill that is being moved through the Parliament at the moment has a clause which says it will only have public hearings in exceptional circumstances, because people like Mr Roberts and others who've engaged in this type of activity, the only thing that stops them is the fear of consequences, the fear of being publicly outed for that behaviour. And if those public hearings are placed behind, if they're placed behind closed doors, then we will continue to see this behaviour.
Well, we've heard from Bill Shorten, we've heard from Stuart Robert, and we'll see where this goes to in the days and weeks ahead.